Good day, my name is Carla Gerber. Today we're going to do 3D decoupage and I hope you're going to enjoy it with me.
Hi, my name is Praksha Soma. Today we'll be doing 3D cards. We're going to be using the 3D pack and normal pattern paper. I hope you enjoy this morning with us. I will be using a 3D card pack. Your first step is to remember that you normally you build from your largest piece to your smallest piece. What I've done already is I've basically cut out my largest piece, which is this one, as you can see. Always remember that your largest piece is your base and you're going to build onto your base. So what we need is a pair of scissors. This one, as you can see, I've already cut out and we're going to stick it onto our cardboard. Since this one is already cut out, all I'm going to use my normal craft glue to stick it onto my board. If you do not have craft glue, you can also use silicone. This craft glue is white in color, as you will see, and it dries clear. All I'm doing, I'm just putting a little craft glue on the picture to stick it down. If you feel you want a little bit of height, you can always use your silicone. I'm going to do it flat, so that is why I'm using craft glue. First step is to place my base. So if you see, your base was your biggest. Now from your first biggest, we go to your second biggest, which is this piece here. It is your preference if you want to use a scissor or a craft knife. What I prefer, since seeing it's not a very complicated picture, I would rather use a pair of scissors. I have now cut all my pieces, but I just want to show you what I've cut. If you can see, this was our first one, which I've cut and stuck down onto my board. The next biggest one is this one here, which I basically cut out the outline of my lighthouse. That is that piece. The third one will be that piece here, which I've basically cut out straight, also according to the lines. If you feel you are not too good with a scissor, you can use a craft knife as well. After that, we've cut out the next bigger piece, which will be that one there. If you can see, all the pieces is already cut out, and my last piece to join will be that piece there. If you can see, my board seems to be a bit too plain, so what I've done is I'm just going to take a scissor which has got a slight pattern on it and just give my board a little bit of pattern so it doesn't look too plain. Now we're going to start building. Always remember, when you're doing 3D, be it a 3D picture, be it a 3D card, you don't have to have it flat. It's not a matter of just taking and cutting out pieces and then pasting it flat. 3D is to give it dimension. All I'm going to do with this piece, I'm just going to give it a little bit of a bend, slight bend, so it doesn't look too flat. You can see just slightly. Always remember, when you're doing 3D, just visualize it. What would it look like in real life? So I'm sure if you look at a lighthouse, the lighthouse is not really now flat. Next step, what I do is take my silicone, which is that, my tube of silicone, and I take a toothpick. Always remember, when you're using silicone, it's always good to press from the bottom. So you put your silicone where you feel you're going to have your raised bits. Press it out slightly and just scoop it off, and you put your silicone down. At first you might find that the silicone becomes messy and you can't get it down. The best way I find, you put your toothpick down and just twist your toothpick and it just comes off easily. This piece is now ready. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to put it onto my first piece. Now, if you see, I'm not sticking it down, I merely just set it down, and all I do now is I take it in front of me and I move it to let it become eye level. If you lift it in front of you, then you can always see whether it's crooked or it's straight or it needs adjusting. If it's flat, you won't really be able to make out. You can see, I think we are fine now. Then all I do, I take the toothpick and I just press down where I feel now I've put the glue. And that's it. Now I'm stuck my 3D pictures down, all I'm doing now is I'm going to decorate my card. When you're decorating your card, the choice is yours and the limit is endless. You can put anything you wish. You can put from stickers to embellishments to ribbon to shells to you name it. Whatever you feel you want to put, you can put. All I'm doing is I'm going to take some craft wire and I'm going to put some shells through my one. I've just made a small little hole with my craft knife and I'm going to put some shells through. Now I've taken my craft wire and I've just threaded it through with some shells. But like I said, you can use shells, you can use beads, embellishments, anything. The choice is yours. If you can see, the card looks very plain and simple. I don't want to overdo this card. All I'm going to do now is just now to decorate, write my message, whatever I have to, and that will be it for this card. If you can see now, this is your card, but all I'm going to be doing it that way. So you can do it that way or you can do it that way, but that way looks much more better. So now all I'm going to do, I take my normal glitter glue, stick, glitter pens, whatever you want, and you write your message in your card. Now in your card, if you feel you need to put embellishments or write a full message here, you can do that, or you can put some stickers here, you can do that, put ribbon, you can do stamping, you can do two-tone stamping. The choice is yours. It's endless. Like I said, I'm just doing a plain and simple card which a normal school child or your son, your daughter will be comfortable, and it's for them to do. Almost done. If you see, and I don't think you want anything more than that. Okay, so that is your card from the front with a little bit of embellishments. That is it. This is a card which I've made already, and all I've used on this card is a peel-off sticker. These peel-off stickers are very good to use because you get them in numbers, in days of the week, or happy birthday, thank you, anything of your choice. All you do is just you peel off the sticker and you stick it. This is called a glue pen. If you see, all you do with the glue pen, you just press it down and it looks blue in color. Now you think it's blue, but this is a glue. And you don't have to press it. All you're going to do is just you press the nib of it and the glue automatically comes out on its own. When it dries, it's going to dry clear. As you can see, we stopped where we was putting the glue onto our card, and now it was blue in color. Once it changes color, all you can see it's clear, and now it's a bit tacky. I now take my foil. All I could do is take my foil and I just rub it over it. Remember, in the twirlies you get, in the foil you get all different colors. But because I've used silver, I'm just using the silver foil. The color is your choice. The cards today that I've done is just plain and simple. You can do it more lavishly, more decorative. I've just done it plain and simple. Assume you want to do a flower pattern or an animal or a fish or whatever. You can draw it on there with a pencil and take your glue pen and do the outline. Once it's dry, you take your foil, you put it over there, and that's what you have. Another alternative to making 3D cards is using a pattern paper, because many people ask the question, instead of buying a 3D pack, can I use a picture? It's fine, you can use picture. Always remember that you have the same pictures all the time. So this is another example. All I've taken is a lemon paper, which you can see all the prints are the same. I've just cut out my first layer and I've stuck it down. I put a little bit of spray glue and I've stuck it down. Now always remember, when you're using paper, it's not as easy as using a ready-made 3D pack, because in a ready-made 3D pack they are actually telling you what to cut out. But when you're using now a paper, you got to think for yourself, what do you want to build, where do you want to build, and how many pieces you want to build on. So I'm not going to do something too much pieces with too many pieces. All I've done is I've taken now my first piece and then I've cut out some of my other pieces, which is, that's my number 2. Then I've cut out that piece, the whole center piece there, which is number 3. And then I can cut out the lemon, which is number 4. I will mark it number 4. And then my last piece I would go for is maybe that leaf with the flower is number 5. So you don't have to be restricted to say, look, I have to use the 3D pack. If you've got a paper, well and good, go ahead, as long as you know what you're going to build on. All we do now, we stick it down with our silicone. Always remember not putting too much silicone onto our paper. The paper that I'm using now is quite thin. And what I find is, if you're using a very thin paper, do not use a lot of silicone, as the silicone leaves a bit of an oily mark and you don't want that. So use as less silicone as possible. Take my next piece, which is my center lemon, and do the same. As you can see, we've curled it already. All I'm doing now, I'm putting silicone, not too much, always remember, not too much of silicone. If you notice the picture that I've used, I basically stuck it flat down onto my board. You don't have to do that. Assume you want to have it risen, then all you do onto your first place is you just put a little silicone at the back on all your places where you want raised. So that means your first piece will not be flat, it will just be slightly risen. Always remember, when you're doing 3D, your pattern or your fruits has to flow. Assume now you're doing this lemon, for instance, and now you take this leaf or that leaf and you overlap it here. It just shows that there's no flow in your picture. It has to be a flow. Assume now you stuck your picture down and you find the silicone is coming out from the bottom. All you do is just take your toothpick while your silicone is wet, and you can remove the excess. If it's wet, you can remove the excess. Once it goes dry, you cannot remove the excess. I have now completed my 3D card with my pattern paper. This card, what I've done is I've just punched two little holes in. I've taken normal organza ribbon and I just tied it there. I've taken a corner punch and I've made a little pattern on there. What I want to do on this card of mine is I want to put a little varnish. Now remember, varnish is your choice. You don't have to varnish your 3D if you do not want to. We have now come to the end of our 3D card making. I hope you enjoyed it with us. Please do not feel afraid to try new techniques regarding card making. Till next time, bye.
When buying a 3D decoupage kit, you'll normally be supplied with a couple of prints of the same picture. You get your black and white instructions just to show where you're supposed to cut your design out, and then you get the step-by-step instruction of how to assemble your 3D decoupage. So what we're going to do is take our first sheet, number each sheet with a number. Sometimes it might be 5, sometimes it might be 6. But just organize yourself, because you've got exactly the same print, a couple, 5 or 6 of the same. You might get a bit confused, and if you do make a mistake, you can go back to a previous one and you might find a piece that you can cut out later. But here we go. So on my first sheet, normally on the instructions, 80% of the time you're going to cut out a small piece which will be numbered. Do that first. Just taking your normal craft knife, make sure it's nice and sharp. Replace a blade if you need to. We're just going to start cutting out our first piece, which in this case is number 12. I'm just going to follow the line. What I prefer is not you to draw with a pencil onto your pattern, because the pencil normally leaves a mark and then people can actually see where you've drawn the line, and just doesn't give you a nice finish. So with the 3D, you need to imagine quite a few lines, because sometimes a leaf might be in front of your veggie or the flowers, so you need to visualize some of the sections that you need to cut, but I'll show you as we go. So that small piece is our first one, but with a number 12. So you're going to cut according to your sheets, not according to the numbers. So this little piece is number 12. Definitely mark it at the back of the piece with a pencil. Number your piece and put it aside. You can have it in a little plastic container, margarine container, but just keep them all separate. Okay, the next one on sheet 1 is going to be the outline. I'm going to cut all the background away around, and I'm only going to be left with my plums and the leaves. So once you've cut out all your designs, you've marked them with a pencil just lightly at the back, just so you know which piece must go where. What I normally do is I just take my cut out piece, put it onto the outline line that was given to me, just to make sure that I'm as close as possible to cutting it out on the right areas. This little piece of card is a mount board. This is normally where we will stick our design on. Your first print is always glued down firmly. So you use a spray adhesive, which we're going to do now, once I've centered my design. So this is your mount frame. Just to make sure you get it nice and center, you'll just put it, position it first. Just going to put it onto a piece of plastic because it makes your hands really sticky. Just lightly spray over your design. Just make sure you cover all over and not too much. Light spray. All the remaining pieces that I've cut out are nice and close to me, so I'm just going to turn them around to see which one will be next. The next number we're going to go with is number 2, although on sheet 2 you cut out piece number 8. Don't worry about that. What you're going to do is from now on, from where you stuck your base onto your mount board, you're going to follow the numbers. Another important step to do once you've cut out with your craft knife is your smaller pieces, because normally when you cut with a craft knife you see like a paper edge, like a white edge coming through. So what you can do is watercolors, normal kiddies watercolors, you can use a neutral color like a light brown and lightly just paint the edges of your paper. In my case I'm just using a Fablon pen and I'm just going to color to get rid of that white. And what I'm doing now, you're going to do with each and every piece. Because once you build your 3D, you don't want all these white edges coming through all over the place. This is our end result. After cutting it out, numbering all your pieces, coloring the sides, you stuck all the pieces on. Now what we're going to do is we're going to varnish the whole picture. What we normally use is a poster varnish. It's a high gloss self-leveling varnish. Only 24 hours after it's dried, the silicone, you're going to start varnishing. So you start in any corner of your choice, just working clockwise, not using a brush, but let the varnish actually level itself out. If you do get smaller air bubbles, you can just take a toothpick and prick them. Gives you a nice high gloss finish. Like I said, with the big 5 animals, you normally won't varnish them, just for the reason that animals aren't shiny. But what you can also do is just highlight leaves, only do fruits, so you don't need to varnish the whole item. Okay, the next step is just to sign your artwork. Normally put a name and a date. Makes it a little bit more personalized. With the framing of a 3D, I'm going to quickly show you. This is the base of your 3D box. You'll place your item, the mount on top of that. Then only your 3D, the box part. Then you're going to do the mount frame. As you can see, you can already get a good idea on the 3D look. Then you're going to do your glass, which you've cleaned with methylated spirits. And finally your frame. So you only frame your item 24 hours after you varnished. Otherwise your varnish is going to sag and it's going to drip all over the place. Clean your glass nicely with methylated spirits or window lean. And that is your box. I hope you enjoyed the 3D decoupage day with me today. Until next time, bye bye.